Hey, and welcome back. It's Monday. Yesterday, Palm Sunday. Next Sunday is Easter, so certainly spend some time with family. You don't get but so many of these Easters, and always remember the great sacrifice that went along to make this such a wonderful holiday. It feels weird saying Happy Easter, but in a way it is. Certainly a situation where, but for a gift, and many years before that was Passover. But it all comes back to a substitution for our sins and our ability to live eternally, and it's just a wonderful part of the year. So think back through that, and it ain't all just about pastels and eggs, but it's a good time for kids to have fun also. But last week we were, because it's Easter week, we're not going to be in court this week. We'll have off Friday, Good Friday, another misnomer. But last week was super busy, so we put out a lot of these on our page, and you can go back and look at them. But in our video, we get to go into a little bit more depth than just into the press release. So, of course, starting Monday and going through Thursday was the murder case. Just a tragic situation. Jackson, 22, of Effingham, and Hickson, 19, of Johnsonville, both were convicted of voluntary manslaughter for their part in killing Dickinson. He was also from the Florence area. Now, what was different about this case is that Dickinson was never the target. Dickinson was, by all accounts, just a wonderful young man. He was a star basketball player in Florence. He had scholarship offers. He was destined for some really great things. His parents, his grandparents, wonderful people. They came to court every day. Just a tragedy for this 17-year-old, really at the wrong place at the wrong time. So Jackson and Hickson were in that parking lot across from the Methodist Church in Myrtle Beach, right where the pavilion parking used to be. There's still parking there. They were backed in and facing, with their lights on, facing their target, which was a blue Malibu, and they were intent on harming the people inside of the blue Malibu. And apparently those two are also up to no good. When the intended victims, got into their vehicle, started backing away, Jackson and Hickson just unleashed, and it was all caught on a video camera from behind. So you could see them running around the vehicle shooting into that car. I think it was well over 25 shots fired. The majority of those shots hit the Malibu. One of the shots hit a lady that was pulling, as the Malibu was backing out, this lady was pulling around. It's a parking lot. It hit her car, flattened her tire. Several, I think as many as 5 cars got hit. In one of those cars, just walking up with a few girls, was Mr. Dickinson, 17-year-old Dickinson. And he hears the shots and dives into the back of the car, not the intended car, not the Malibu, but another car, where he's hit and he dies as a result of that one bullet. A lot has been made that we didn't get both guns from Hickson and Jackson. Of course, the police investigated. They ended up getting one of the guns. It was determined, and we turned it over, that that is not the gun that fired the fatal shot. So a lot of people just raved that there wasn't any evidence, and that is not true. It's what you would think of any case that takes place in a parking lot where you've got multiple shooters. There's tremendous amount of evidence. One of them's the video, which clearly shows the two defendants shooting. Another one is the fact that one of the two defendants said, "I was shooting." So for all the people that are saying, you got the wrong people, we did not get the wrong people. There could have been more people that were involved, but we got those two that were shooting. And of course, Mr. Dickinson, he didn't know these guys. I don't believe that they knew him. There was no intent for them to hurt him. But the first part of what we've just talked about is known in South Carolina as the hand of one is the hand of all. That means if you and I are shooting at a tombstone, like an old Western, with a guy hiding behind a tombstone, and we're laying down fire to keep that person from leaving, and then another person walks around and shoots him, I'm just as responsible for that death as the person whose projectile went into the decedent. I'm shooting, I'm trying to do bad things, I'm just as responsible. If we go to rob a bank and I don't have a gun, but you do, and you go inside, never meaning to shoot anybody, but knowing that bank robberies are dangerous, and I'm guarding the door and I'm making sure other people don't come in, and it gets heated, you end up shooting the store clerk or the bank teller, I'm just as responsible as you are for that murder. And that's a long-held part of the law in South Carolina. It's called hand of one, hand of all. Another thing, and this is where this mess gets kind of technical, but transferred intent. That means that if I'm shooting at person A and I miss person A, but I'm in a parking lot and I'm shooting at person A, I miss person A and I hit a child that is 3 rows over, person B, and person B dies, the malice that I had for person A is transferred to person B. And the idea is we shouldn't be shooting in a parking lot. We shouldn't be going to a place and trying to harm a person. That is transferred intent. So with all of these things that were going on, the jury had this idea of murder, the killing of another with malice aforethought. A jury is comprised of 12 people. At least one of those people said, I don't feel right about transferred intent, I don't feel right about hand of one, hand of all. The video is not great. Both of them didn't admit to it. Something hung up at least one of the jurors, and there was a compromise verdict for voluntary manslaughter. And that's okay also. None of this stuff is the first time we've ever seen it. It happens all the time. And voluntary manslaughter is a lesser included of murder. So the judge let them consider that, and that's what they convicted him on, which is really the killing of another. But the malice part has been excused by red hot temper, or it really came down to there wasn't that in this case, but it was a compromise verdict, and compromise verdicts are also fine. So all of those things come to play, and many, many others over a 3-day trial with probably 20 witnesses saying what they saw. It's a tough job. The police have a tough job. They went out and picked up everything that they saw that was out of place, and there was some bullet shells that may have been from a different shooting at a different time. But all of those things kind of played into this. And imagine trying to go in and recreate a scene with the help of video, but you're trying to recreate that scene, and it may be multiple scenes that have played out over 3 weeks or 2 weeks or 2 days. So hats off to Nancy Livesay and Delbert Leisure, who did a fantastic job with what would have been just at a standing back. It would have been easy for a police officer or a victim or someone to say, well, this is an easy case. None of them are easy, because remember, in all of this, they've also paid a defense attorney sometimes $50,000 to make it not easy. So it's tough. These are tough cases, but the right thing happened. Don't feel like just because people are saying that wasn't the bullet. Once you think through these things, you see. Now, one other thing on a totally different case, you saw 5, 10 press releases go out. It was multiple every day. Some people getting 10, some people getting 15 years for multiple stuff. There is a lot of stuff to discuss. We'll discuss it in the future. Again, 85%, but a lot of those things are drugs. A lot of it deals with the judge that you have. And yes, if he gives 10 years to person A and he sees person B on Tuesday, he may very well, 10 may be lodged in his head. And we saw multiple cases where 10 came out. I'm not saying that's a bad sentence. I'm saying it is what it is. And we play a role in that. We provide the information and try the case beyond a reasonable doubt. So have a great week, what's left of it, and a great weekend, and spend some time with family.